important topic that everybody needs to know about. JetBlue and Spirit Airlines are not actually merging because the United States government, thought that it would be bad for the consumer, okay? So when you want tickets, you want to fly somewhere, okay? If you're thinking about flying Spirit, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get these cheap rates on these Spirit flights. Well, guess what? The U.S. government wants to protect that opportunity. So if the idea being that if JetBlue and Spirit Airlines merged, then what would have happened was the price of the tickets on average would have gone up for the U.S. consumer. So the U.S. government stepped in and said, hey, now, guys, we need to make sure that we're protecting the U.S. consumer, okay? So Spirit Airlines, obviously, they have like the shittiest flights that you can possibly get, okay? And they're essentially dollar store. It's the dollar store airline, You go to Spirit, you're putting a wager on your, you're thinking, oh, maybe I won't survive this flight. It's the kind of airline that you get on board and you don't necessarily have a guarantee you'll get off. But people can, that's only an assumption because of like the price and the quality, okay? It's in actuality, I don't think they have like a high crash record or anything like that. But Spirit Airlines is obviously the cheapest airline. So JetBlue wanted to merge with Spirit because JetBlue is having financial woes, and they thought that with Spirit, they would be a stronger airline because they're having a hard time competing with other airlines. The U.S. government stepped in. When the U.S. government stepped in, the JetBlue CEO said that it was utter bullshit. That I think I read that quote correctly. I read the Wall Street Journal article about it, and I believe the JetBlue CEO said that it was complete bullshit that they weren't able to merge. Now, when I fly airplanes, I usually don't fly JetBlue or Spirit Airlines. Usually I fly. Recently, it's been like American Airlines. It's been Alaska Airlines. Usually Alaska Airlines on the average. Alaska Airlines, of course, is based in Alaska, and they actually are merging. The plan is for them to merge with Hawaiian Airlines. I think recently they merged with Virgin Airlines. So what's happening is all the airlines are merging together. And eventually you're going to have like two airlines, okay? You're going to have United and you're going to have Delta. Those are the two major ones. Actually, the major ones, I think, are Delta, American, United, and like some fucking like fourth one. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but, maybe it's Lufthansa. Lufthansa is pretty much the main airline of Germany. It's interesting, the airline business, they got all these different airlines. It's like other businesses, like the video game console market is only two businesses. You've only got Xbox and you've got PS4. Well, I guess you have Nintendo Switch as well, and then you have PC. So I guess that's four, but really it's three video game consoles. When I game, I use the PS5, which is the Sony version. Obviously, the Xbox, Microsoft. Which at this point feels so natural. I remember at the time when Microsoft was purchased by Xbox, it was a big deal, but now the two are like tightly associated. Everybody knows that Microsoft owns Xbox. So these airlines, you've got like 10 airlines because you've got the budget airlines, and then you've got the like major, like what I would call the real airlines. And those are two distinct kinds of businesses where one is nickel and diming you off of like things like luggage and the cost. They're trying to lower their costs, lower their bottom line. And then you've got other airlines that are pricier, but they offer like things like better service and more accommodations. So these two it just goes to show you that the different markets in the U.S. are very differently structured. There are different kinds. They run different businesses and sectors run very differently. Again, another example, aircraft. Okay, like Boeing pretty much runs the aircraft market. I don't know if Lockheed Martin does just military stuff and bombs, or if they also do aircraft, but I know Boeing does a lot of stuff with like the military, I believe. It's them and Lockheed Martin have a lot of deals with them. It's interesting. You got companies like Boeing where it's like their product isn't something that they sell to a consumer. They don't have to worry about things like advertising. They sell to corporations and to governments. That's a big business. That's a good business to be in because then you don't have to deal with. You're dealing with really it's organization to organization, but really it's person to person sales. I would imagine the sales workers for Boeing probably get paid like a shitload. I'm not sure exactly how much. Maybe the CEO that kind of runs the sales, or it's like one of those situations where the CEO themselves is kind of the head sales agent. But the fact that the Spirit Airlines JetBlue deal isn't going through, I think it goes to show you that the government, this current administration, is fighting for keeping antitrust laws, and it's interesting to consider maybe the different possible outcomes of mergers like the one that JetBlue and Spirit were planning on going through with, because the current theory again by the government is that it would be bad for the consumer, but if these businesses go bust, I would imagine that would ultimately be worse for the consumer. And that's the fear. And by the end of the article I read by the Wall Street Journal, I was convinced in my mind that these businesses were just going to go bust if they didn't merge. So ultimately, it might be Delta and United and such that are getting protected because they might just be the ones that just kind of buy up those markets that Spirit and JetBlue currently have, either by directly buying those companies or by just those companies defaulting and then them moving in. So it's an interesting economic situation to watch. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening.